Welcome to Edutube. Science is simple. Ever wondered what happens to food after it's eaten? The digestive system is responsible for getting all the important things from food, like energy and nutrients, so the body can use them. The digestive system has four main functions: ingestion, digestion, absorption, and egestion. Ingestion is the first step. It means taking food into the mouth, basically eating. Digestion is the process of breaking down large food molecules into smaller ones that the body can use. Digestion happens in two ways. Mechanical digestion physically breaks food into smaller pieces, such as by chewing. Chemical digestion uses special proteins called enzymes to break food down into even smaller molecules. When food is fully digested, the small molecules, along with vitamins, minerals, and water, are absorbed into the bloodstream. The blood carries these nutrients to all the cells in the body. The cells use them to make energy through respiration, or to build important materials like muscles and enzymes. Any leftover materials that can't be digested or are not needed are eventually removed from the body. This process is called egestion. Imagine food going on an adventure. The digestive system is like a long path made of different organs. These organs help to break down food, absorb nutrients, and remove waste. The digestive system also has special muscles in the walls of the gut that help move food along. It has two layers of muscle. One layer has muscle fibers that go around the gut, called the circular muscle layer. The other layer has fibers that run along the gut, called the longitudinal muscle layer. These two muscle layers work together in a special way. When the circular muscles contract and the longitudinal muscles relax, the gut becomes narrower. When the longitudinal muscles contract and the circular muscles relax, the gut becomes wider. This pattern of tightening and relaxing creates wave-like movements called peristalsis. Peristalsis pushes food through the digestive system, similar to squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. Let's take a journey through the digestive system. The journey begins in the mouth. Inside the mouth, two main things happen. The teeth crush and grind the food into smaller pieces. This is mechanical digestion. Smaller pieces have more surface area, making it easier for enzymes to act and easier for the food to be swallowed. The salivary glands produce saliva, a watery fluid that contains an enzyme called amylase. Amylase begins to break down starch into a simpler sugar called maltose. Saliva also helps in other ways. It moistens the food, making it easier to swallow. It contains buffers that neutralize acids from food, which helps to protect teeth from decay. The tongue rolls the chewed food into a small soft ball called a bolus. Once the bolus is formed, it is swallowed. The bolus travels through a long muscular tube called the esophagus. Movement through the esophagus happens because of peristalsis, wave-like muscle contractions that push the food downward towards the stomach. Since peristalsis doesn't rely on gravity, even if the body were upside down, peristalsis would still move food. After the esophagus, the food reaches the stomach, a very important organ with many jobs. The stomach is made up of different tissues, which works together for two main functions. The muscular walls of the stomach squeeze and churn the food. This is a form of mechanical digestion, similar to stirring soup in a pot. The stomach also produces gastric juice, which contains pepsin, which is a protease enzyme that breaks down proteins into smaller pieces called amino acids. It also contains hydrochloric acid, a strong acid that kills harmful bacteria in the food and creates an acidic pH so pepsin can work properly. But why doesn't the stomach get hurt by all that acid? The stomach also makes a special mucus lining that protects its wall from acidic pH. The stomach has two important muscular gates called sphincters. The top sphincter prevents food from flowing backward into the esophagus. The bottom sphincter controls when food moves into the next part, the small intestine. An adult human stomach can hold up to 2 liters of food and liquid. The food is churned and mixed into chyme in the stomach. Chyme is a thick, soupy liquid, and it moves into the small intestine. The small intestine is a long, coiled tube with 3 main parts: duodenum, the first part; jejunum, the middle part, and ileum, the final part. Most of the digestion and almost all of the absorption of nutrients happen here. Before looking at the small intestine itself, it's important to understand the accessory organs: pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. These organs do not touch food directly, but they release important fluids into the small intestine to help with digestion. When chyme enters the duodenum, the pancreas releases pancreatic juice, which contains enzymes to digest all major food groups. Amylase breaks down carbohydrates. Trypsin breaks down proteins. Lipase breaks down lipids. These enzymes continue the chemical digestion that began in the mouth and stomach. At the same time, the gallbladder releases a greenish fluid called bile into the small intestine. Bile is made in the liver and stored in the gallbladder until needed. Bile has two key jobs. It is alkaline and neutralizes stomach acid, so it helps to balance out the acidic chyme, creating the right pH for digestive enzymes to work properly. Bile breaks large fat droplets into smaller ones. This process is called emulsification, which makes it easier for lipase enzymes to digest fats. The small intestine also makes its own enzymes to complete digestion. Maltase, sucrase, and lactase break down disaccharides into monosaccharides. Dipeptidase finishes breaking down proteins into single amino acids. By the end of digestion in the small intestine, all large food molecules are broken into their simplest forms. The ileum, last part of the small intestine, is specially adapted for absorbing digested food. It is quite long and provides a large surface to absorb the digested food. The inner surface is covered with tiny finger-like projections called villi. Villi also increase the surface area for absorption. The lining epithelium is very thin and the fluids can pass rapidly through it. In addition, the epithelial cells have smaller extensions called microvilli, increasing the surface area even more. Inside each villus, there is a dense network of blood vessels and a structure called a lacteal. Small molecules like glucose and amino acids pass into the epithelial cells and then through the wall of the capillaries in the villus and into the bloodstream. These capillaries join to form the hepatic portal vein, which carries blood to the liver. Although some fatty acids and glycerol enters the capillaries, a large proportion of fatty acids and glycerol combine again to reform fats and enter into the lacteal. The lacteal flows into the lymphatic system. By the time food leaves the small intestine, nutrients like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals have been absorbed into the bloodstream. However, not everything in food can be digested. Substances like fiber remain, and the mixture is still very watery at this stage. After the small intestine has finished its work, the remaining material moves into the large intestine, also called the colon. This is the final section of the digestive system. The large intestine still has important jobs to do. One of its main functions is to absorb water from the leftover mixture. This is very important because the body needs to retain as much water as possible instead of losing it. As water is absorbed, the leftover mixture becomes more solid and turns into feces. The large intestine is also home to many types of bacteria. These bacteria are not harmful. In fact, many of them are helpful. These friendly bacteria assist the body by breaking down some undigested materials and producing certain vitamins. Once water has been absorbed and feces have formed, the feces are stored in the rectum, which is the last part of the large intestine. When the body is ready, the feces are removed through the anus. This final step is known as egestion, the removal of unabsorbed waste from the body. If this video helped you understand the digestive system better, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a bite-sized science lesson from Edutube. Until next time, keep learning, stay curious, and remember, science is simple.